Grimmauld Place. As luck would have it, the Order of the Phoenix was having a meeting just about then, so Harry decided to crash it. They probably weren't talking about anything important anyway. "Good day, everyone. How are things?" he said as he burst through the door. The Order looked startled. Oh, they knew that it was his house they were using, but he'd never bothered to greet them. Quite a few people were familiar. Alastor, Mad-Eye Moody, Remus Lupin, Sirius's ex-girlfriend Hestia Jones, Weasleys and more Weasleys. Oh, and Snape, of course. "Potter, what are you doing here?" the man in question sneered. Harry replied by blasting him in the face with a stunner. There was a moment of shocked silence before the newest member of the Order spoke. "Wicked!" Ron Weasley breathed out in awe, delighted at seeing his most hated professor taken down like it was nothing. "We are in awe," Fred and George declared solemnly. "Harry, why did you do that?" Dumbledore asked with a reproachful tone. "He's a guest in my house, and he has the balls to demand I explain my presence," Harry retorted sardonically. "Besides, this gives him plausible deniability." "Plausible deniability for what?" Dumbledore asked in confusion. "For not knowing about the assault on Malfoy Manor." "What assault on Malfoy Manor?" The old wizard was completely bewildered at this point. "The one that you, me, and the DMLE are mounting in a few hours." Dumbledore was silent for a few seconds before speaking again. "Would I be correct in assuming that you believe Voldemort is currently at Malfoy Manor?" "I don't believe anything. I know it for a certainty. You and I are going there and putting Voldy in the fucking ground. Again." "Harry, I don't think we want to be hasty about this," Albus cautioned. He didn't want to mention Horcruxes here, but he didn't understand why Harry would rush off to a battle that wouldn't achieve anything. "Hasty?" Harry repeated flatly. "Hasty would be charging in there half-cocked. This is a deliberate and planned assault on an enemy stronghold before his forces have time to recover. I'm going, but I'm not deluded enough to think I can match Voldemort in a fight just yet, which means that you're going too, even if I have to drag you there by the beard." "You can't talk to the headmaster like that," Molly Weasley protested. "He's become a bit too used to having his word taken as law because of people like you." Harry shot back. "I'll talk to him however the fuck I please, and right now that means telling him that he is getting off his wrinkled old arse and fighting. You can't win a war by sitting on the defensive." "Lad's got a point," Moody weighed in. Albus held back a sigh as the Order looked at him for a reply. He didn't doubt that Harry's threat wasn't an idle one. The chances of Harry actually being able to force him to fight were slim, but he didn't want to quarrel with the younger wizard. They would need to work together to take care of Voldemort. But Harry was just so impetuous and so quick to resort to lethal means. "Very well," he said heavily. "I want in," Moody said with an ugly grin. "I'm sure Bones won't mind that." Harry nodded firmly, more than happy to have him along. The mangled Aura was one of the very few Order members that was a proven fighter. "What about the rest of us?" Ron Weasley complained. Molly Weasley was about to rail on her youngest son for wanting to put himself in danger, but Harry cut her off with a derisive snort. "The rest of you?" he repeated mockingly. "And what are the rest of you? Housewives, shopkeepers, bureaucrats, and children so green you're still pissing grass. You'd be no use in a fight even if Bones would let you take part." "You're not any older than me," Ron yelled back, feeling personally attacked. "Ronald, enough!" Dumbledore interjected. "But Professor, I can fight," Ron insisted. Harry blasted him with a stunner. "Ron!" Molly Weasley shrieked and dove for her son. "Such a fighter," Harry said sarcastically, getting a rusty chuckle out of Moody. "What is wrong with you?" Molly demanded shrilly. "You can't just go around hexing people." "He'll be fine. Being magically stunned builds character," he said dismissively and turned back to Dumbledore. "Well, this has been fun, but I have other things to do. Dumbledore, Moody, I'll be expecting you to show up at the Ministry in 4 hours. Fred, George, keep the grease stain unconscious until the excitement is over." "Keep Snape unconscious? It will be our distinct pleasure." Harry smirked at their over-the-top acting and left. Those two had refused his offer of moving to Spellhaven, choosing to stay in Britain with their family despite the danger. Still, since their partnership was of a silent type, they might not be targeted. Not because of an association with him, at least. He hadn't known they'd joined the Order of the Phoenix, but wasn't too surprised either. What he assumed were Bill and Charlie were there too, meaning that pretty much every Weasley except Ginny and Percy were part of it now, and Ginny might well insist on joining as soon as she became of age. It was a strange feeling to consider Percy the smartest of the Weasleys, but there was no help for it. The others were clearly dumb enough to willingly wade into a war.